guys, so this is the video I've been absolutely dreading posting, but I do think it's really important, and I hope it gives you a little bit more of an insight into what it's like saying goodbye to these children. Be kind. It is a bit of a long one, but it was a difficult time for us, but it's been really nice to share it with you, and I hope that it can give some people a little bit of help that they might need right now. Enjoy. So we got told very suddenly, we got told on the Tuesday that they would be leaving on the Saturday. So initially it was just shock. And when they say, like, before you die, your life flashes before your eyes, it was a bit like that, really. Everything I needed to do just flashed before my eyes, and I had like 4 or 5 days to do it. I had to pack these little people's whole lives up and ship them off, and Nico still had to go to work, and they still had nursery commitments, and I had other commitments. So that initial being told was just really, really overwhelming, because they were so comfortable here. We were so comfortable with them being here. They'd taken over this whole house. They took every ounce of our time, and then we had to try and orchestrate still giving them that level of care and attention whilst trying to pack everything up and get everything ready and everything in order to send them off. So that week was difficult. There was a lot of frustration and despair and confusion, because although they were never going to be with us forever, it was still a real short, sharp shock at that moment in time. And I think the hardest part during that initial week was spending time with them and looking them in the eye, knowing that it was all coming to an end. And I think that's when you have to put your own emotions aside and just put on a brave face for them. And I can remember it being really, really difficult to pick them up from nursery and go on as usual, when all you wanted to do was just hold them tight, tell them how much you love them and how much you were going to miss them. But that's not healthy for anybody. So I think in that moment, sorry, I'm probably going to get quite upset throughout this anyway, so I might as well just get it out of the way. In that moment and those few days, that's what the most difficult part was keeping it all together and being strong for them. We would literally drop them off at nursery, come home, and me and Nico would just crumble. But we still had so much to do. We had to pack all their stuff and pack all their toys. And I think I've spoke about before, memory boxes. So they really encourage each looked after child to have a memory box. And we literally had to buy like these massive, I think they were like 14 litre tubs for just all the memories that we'd accumulated. And they had wads and wads of photos, and going through all of that at such a time of panic and like going through something so shocking was really, really difficult. So we had all of that to get together, and we obviously wanted to make it a memorable experience for them and a comfortable experience. So we had a few days where they went and spent time with the people they were moving on to, and that was really quite strange, but that makes it a lot easier when you see where they're going and how lovely the couple were that they were moving on to, and how happy they were when they came home from spending time with them. That definitely makes it easier on you as a carer, because they're your responsibility. You feel like you know them best and you know what's best for them, and to try and portray that to somebody in such a short space of time, when they're going to learn their own routines and they're going to learn their own way of doing things. And these children are different at nursery, at my house, at Bernie's house, around Nico. They're not going to be the same children when they go to their house. So you kind of just got to trust in the process and just let that happen. So my advice around that is just don't worry too much, that it will be okay. Give them as much information as you can, but trust in the process and trust in the foster carers or the adoptive parents that are taking these children on. That made it a lot easier for us to just trust the universe, trust the process, trust the system, and just don't put too much responsibility on yourself to get everything right for them. So the final day before they left, we took them to the Trafford Centre, and we intended to take them to Build-A-Bear because I thought it'd be quite nice for them to take something with them so that they could keep it and it would remind them of their time with us. But they didn't really get it. They are still super little. So instead we went to the Disney store, and they both picked 2 teddies from the Disney store, their favourite characters. And I can just remember walking around the Trafford Centre, just fighting back the tears the whole time. Like, that was really, really difficult, like fully knowing it was coming to an end. And when we got home, I've shown pictures before of how we had a huge playroom, and it was all boxed up and it was boxes, and the little fella was sort of like trying to unpack things and didn't really get what was going on. And I think that was super painful, is that they don't have a clue. You can try and explain it and explain it, they just don't get it. With older children it might be slightly easier because they get a little bit of a gist of what's going on, but for a 2 and a 3-year-old there was no explaining it to them. So yeah, they were sort of wandering around the toy room like, where are my toys going, like what's going on? And they just couldn't grasp that they were moving on to their new house. And so that was really, really difficult. And then the final day it happened, we woke up, we got them dressed, we had our last breakfast with them, and they came, the new people that were going to be looking after them. And you just keep it so happy. Like I said, I think the hardest thing is keeping it all together during that transition period. And we waved them off, and it was all happy. They were absolutely fine. And then we shut the street door. I just broke down. And I think that's really important, that you do keep it all together. Sorry. Yeah, so I think that is really important, that you do keep it all together for the children. And then don't be afraid to let it all out once they're gone. And I think that's really, really necessary, and have a plan in place. So we decided that once they'd gone, it would probably be too painful to stay in the house, just because it was so bare, because they took over everything. So our plan was to, if you've watched my previous video about who did my references, was my best friend Susie. And she was super pregnant in that video, and she had a beautiful baby boy. And I'd met him once when he was about 2 weeks old, and at this point when they'd gone, he was about 4 weeks old. So we had decided that we were going to go and stay with them for a few days, because we love spending time with them, and they always really look after us, and their house is just so calm. And obviously the new baby, it was really exciting. So we had planned to, literally, the boys left at around 12 and we jumped straight in the car and drove to London. That was really difficult because obviously every song reminds you of them, and everything's got a memory attached to it. And I initially was just like, don't want to talk about it, don't want to think about it, get over it, it's done. And I think that was really wrong of me. But at that time, that was how I could cope with it, and that was how I processed it, to just be like, they've gone, they're happy, come on, we can't dwell on this. So it was a strange journey down there, and we got about 5 minutes away, and Nico just broke down and just couldn't stop sobbing. And I think it was just the relief of, we were nearly there, it was done and dusted and behind us, there was nothing more we could do. yeah, he just let it all out, and then I obviously started, and it was difficult. It was really difficult, and you don't know what to say, and it is painful, and I'm not going to say that it isn't. So we got to Susie's, and it was a great pick-me-up for me to see the baby and catch up with Susie and Jack, and Nico had a little sleep in the chair in their living room, and he'd fallen asleep, he'd had a nap, because we hadn't slept since we got the news that they were going, obviously, and he fell asleep, and Stanley started crying sort of like half an hour, 40 minutes into his nap, and Nico woke up and was really solemn, like really, and then just started sobbing and sobbing and sobbing again. And I said, like, what's wrong? Like, obviously I knew what was wrong, but like, what's happened? Did you dream about them? And he said, no, I forgot. Like, when I heard the baby crying in my sleep, I thought it was the little man. So I'd forgot, and I'd woken up and for that split second forgot that it wasn't the boys making the noise. And those little things took a long time to go. Like, you wake up in the morning and you just forget that they're not there because they've been there for so long. And that is one of the most painful parts. But it does go, and I'm only getting so upset about it now because I've been so distracted. But I suppose I haven't brought these feelings to the surface. So as you can see, it's still incredibly painful. So we had a few days with Jack and Susie, and then it was just facing the facts that, like, you got to go home, you got to face reality. And I just went into complete crazy mode and just was like, right, well, I want to decorate the whole house, let's get everything sorted. And we booked a holiday, and this I would really, really recommend. We booked a lovely holiday for both of us. We'd waited the whole time we had the boys, we'd waited for passports and never got them. And we didn't want to go on holiday without them, so we finally booked a really luxurious holiday for the both of us. So we had that to look forward to, and we booked it with like a month till we were going. And we'd asked our social worker for a break. She probably would have recommended it anyway, but we asked for a break. And to not sort of have any placements or anything until after our holiday. And yeah, I just completely gutted the house, and I was buying all new furniture, and I drastically changed the rooms, whitewashed them, and just took every sort of remnants of the boys out of them, because it just was really, really painful to walk around and see and remember the little bits about them. And it's not that you want to erase them, it's not that you want to forget them, but we've got a job to do, and we've got other children that need us, and we need to sort of suit up, get ready, and go again, because if we crumbled every time we said goodbye to these children, then we wouldn't be doing a very good job as foster carers. So yeah, Nico went back to work, and I got all the house ready, and then yeah, we really, really looked forward to our holiday, and we enjoyed that holiday. We deserved it, we enjoyed it. We really, really made the most of it, and that is just what we needed. One thing I will say is, with fostering, children move on for a variety of different reasons, and sometimes they could move on and you'll transition and you'll still see them once a month or see them once a week. We were never given any contact agreement or nothing. It was just, the children are going on this date, bye. So some of you might be watching this thinking, why aren't you seeing them, or what, like, why is it so painful, da da da. It was a complete cut-off for us. So that is one thing to sort of bear in mind for those of you who have been through saying goodbye to foster children, or those that maybe are thinking, oh, I couldn't do this, it looks too painful. It doesn't always happen like this. It happens in a variety of different ways. So when we got back from holiday, we were ready to go again, and we put our profiles back out there, and I was getting referrals again. I went and spent some more time with Susie, and yeah, I think once you're distracted then, and the momentum gets going and the house looks completely different, and we were getting to spend time alone and do things that we enjoyed. And I think that's really important, because the sense of redundancy that took over me was really overwhelming, and trying to see things and enjoy things from my own eyes again was really difficult, because I think when you have little children, you just go through like going, oh, he would have loved that, oh, he'll really enjoy that, oh, I can't wait to take him to that. And you go through seeing the world through their eyes. So it was really, really strange to go back to seeing things through our eyes and what we'd enjoy as couples, and not having to go to bed early, not having to get up early, and you know, eating when we wanted to. And with foster caring, you have to do obviously your logs and your health and safety, and like we took the lock off the cleaning cupboard for a couple of weeks just to give us a break and just to give us a sense of normality. Like, just running from the shower to your bedroom when you've forgotten a towel wasn't the end of the world. Like, little things like that to just make you feel you again and not you the foster carer again. I think really enjoy that if you are going through this. Just make sure you enjoy that time, because before you know it, you're back into the swing of it, and it's rules and regulations and watching your mouth and back to routines and living life for somebody else, which is why we do it, and it's why I love it. But it was also really nice to just remember what it was like to just be me and Nico again. So it wasn't long before we were getting referrals through, and I can remember it got to just before the new children were due to move in, and the boys were brought up in conversation. You think about them every day. I think about them every single day. And it's taken Nico a lot longer than me to be able to process it. He's still really, really heartbroken. I am, but my foster care ahead and my mission in life to help as many children as I can has overtaken it, and I know I've got a job to do. But I think I just didn't talk about it for quite a while, and then they got brought up in conversation, and again we just both broke down and had a good old sob. And I think that will happen for a long time. I think that might happen for the rest of our lives. We will always wonder, and we will always wish nothing but the best for them. But this is why we do it. We made a massive difference in their lives for those 14 months. We did everything we could, and that's all we can do. And it's coming up to their birthdays soon, so it's been sort of on everybody's mind. Like, I even spoke to my dad today, and he only really spent a handful of weekends with the boys. But obviously I spoke to him every week, and the boys used to FaceTime him, and even he said today that I've really been thinking about them, and I don't think you realise how much it impacts everybody around you. So I would say be aware of that, and if you have that, and if you have friends and family that are as affected by it as you are, you're really lucky, because I know lots of people who actually lose friends through fostering, and lose family members through fostering. So I think that has taught me how lucky we are that everybody was so invested, and how much support we had and how much support we still have for what we do. So yeah, now we're at a place, we've got our new placement, we've had them for 7 weeks, so we're months and months from having had the boys now. Like I say, we still think about them every day. It's only painful when you really get into it and you really start thinking about them. Miss them dearly, love them more than anything, and they taught us so much. And that is one thing I would say, is although it was incredibly painful, and I would never dream of comparing this to losing a child or having a child taken from you. Obviously I wouldn't, but it has heightened my level of compassion for the parents of these children. 1,000,000% has taken my compassion a level up. That understanding of somebody else being in control of your child, somebody else spending all their time with them. So although it was a horrible way of learning it, it has taught me a lot around that part of fostering. So yeah, we're doing really, really well. Sorry for crying, but it's been really therapeutic actually to talk this through and get it out there. And yeah, some people might watch this and go, oh my God, there's no way I put myself through that. Some people might go, oh, well, you know, maybe I could do it. And that's what it's all about, is just giving you an insight into what it's really like. Because as I've always said, I wish there were videos out there like this for me when I was going through all of these things. Sorry for all the tears. That was really, really helpful for me to do that and let it all out. And I really hope that it's helped one or two of you at least, even if it's just giving you a little bit more information around it, or you've been through it, or looking to go through it. Yeah. Thanks again, guys. See you later.